yoga friends. This is Julie Farmer. It's been a long time since I have posted a new video. I think it's the longest in the 12 years I've been teaching yoga. I think this is the longest that I've taken a little break. Not from my personal practice, but from teaching. And I really do miss it, but I think the break was good for me. I became a grandma since I've seen you last, and so that's a very exciting thing. We went in quarantine for 2 weeks to be able to be with him when he was born in Minnesota. So we are just completely thrilled with being grandparents. So anyway, today, shifting gears a little bit away from hugging and kissing a grandchild, I want to just share with you this idea that you're only one choice away from changing your life. Pretty profound, isn't it? One choice. What does that mean? It might mean a choice to forgive someone that you've been holding a grudge for. It might mean starting to move your body in a new way. It doesn't mean you need to start training for a marathon. Maybe it simply means you need to get out and walk around the block. Today, I'm thinking, what a wonderful choice to come back to my yoga mat and to be able to share the gift of yoga with you. So go ahead and close your eyes and come to the space with me where all is well. We are at peace. No matter where your body is right now. I was on a long hike this morning, and so my body's a little bit stiff from that, and because I didn't do yoga yet today, so I'm going to be a little stiff with you, but we're going to work through that, right? That's the choice of coming to your mat, meeting yourself right where you are, casting aside any judgment that you might have about how long it's been since you've been on your mat. Perhaps you've never done a yoga practice before and this is new to you. Just offer yourself the grace and the kindness to embrace this practice that I think is so life-giving to ourselves and to those around us as we really come into connection with our true self. So letting go of the ties that bind, the expectation, the judgment, the worry, the measuring, the comparing, letting go of all of that. Making the choice to come here for yourself, for your mind, your body, and your spirit. Take a deep breath in. Allow the belly to fill up with the breath. Exhale, fully release. Let's do that again. Inhale fully. And exhale, release. Keeping the eyes closed or gently open the eyes, but we're going to inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. And exhale, let the arms float back down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, rise up. This time staying up, we're going to lean over to the right side, place the right hand down on the mat and reach the left arm up to the sky, perhaps even turning and looking up under the left armpit. Taking a breath here, exhaling. Let's inhale one more time. Keeping both sitting bones rooting down. And then on the inhale, rise up to the top, elongating the spine, reaching up through the back of the head. So the back of the neck expands, reaching up through the crown of the head. And then exhaling down, left hand to the mat, right hand reaches up and then arches over, but push both sitting bones down. So don't let this right hip bone start to come up. We're really rooting down into the earth. Inhale one more time. And exhale, bring the hands to the knees. This time, inhale, reach your spine forward. You could even look up. And exhale, look back or look down towards your belly button. Push your spine back. Let's go one more time. Inhale forward. And exhale back. So we start to warm up the spine, and then a really nice way to help with the twist is to elongate the spine first. Take a deep inhale with that. And then exhale, move from the left lung over to the right hand behind you, turn and look over the right shoulder. So maybe you don't get as far as you'd like to. It's really counterproductive to push through it, so you want to stay with the breath. Keep thinking of this left lung moving over to the right rather than trying to crank yourself to the right. Okay, does that make sense? Inhaling, lifting the spine again, exhaling gently, thinking about the left side of the body twisting over toward the midline. Good, and on the exhale, we come back to center. And then we'll do that again the other side. So straighten yourself around, inhale, get tall, and then exhale, think about now the right side, moving over to the left. So the right hand to the left leg, right hand or left hand beside you, and then even push into the left fingertips as you inhale again, and exhale, and inhale, come back to center. Nice job. So let's go ahead and come to a standing position. And I'm gonna go sideways on my mat here for you. Go ahead and clear off whatever you might have been sitting on there and come to the front of your mat. Inhale, feel the feet beneath you, and then look down and see if your feet are parallel. If you've got one foot that always tends to turn in or turn out, you're eventually gonna find an issue with the hips. So go ahead and turn that foot back inward and make the feet parallel. And a great way to do that is the second toe. If you kind of drew a line to the center of your ankle, the lines there, you want those to be parallel. Good. So now inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, releasing down, coming to a forward fold. Finding your block if you need to. If your hamstrings are really tight, let's honor that and not push through. But maybe you stay in this position here. You can use a chair, you can use a block, or even a wall. And exhaling down. Let's go inhaling back up. Good, and exhaling down. Inhale all the way back up. And exhale over to the right side. With the right hand, grab your left wrist, pull up toward the sky and over, just like what we did from a seated position, but now it's a standing position. And good, and let's do the other side. Inhale up. The left hand grabs the right wrist and pulls over toward the left. Feel that length come into the right side, not too much, just finding that sweet spot there. Go ahead and come back up to the sky. Exhale, come back down to the forward fold, step your right leg back to deep lunge and drop the back knee down. So notice the 90-degree angle in my front leg, my back leg. The toes are curled under on the back leg. That will help the knee. If that's too much on the knee, you can always put a little cushion under that knee. And the toes are facing straight ahead. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Now you can do that same thing. Left hand grabs the right wrist, right hand reaches up to the sky and slowly starts to come over toward the left. Staying here, using the breath to help you stay present in this space, grounding down through the feet, but lifting up through the heart. The head, the crown of the head lifts, kind of like if somebody's pulling on my ponytail, right? It's lifting through the back of the neck, elongating the spine. Now reach your hands down and let's step back to downward facing dog. Fingers are spread wide. Push through your fingertips and notice the difference between lifting your hands and dumping into the wrist. Press your fingertips down so that the wrist isn't quite so vulnerable here. Bend the knees. Lift the hips, begin to straighten the legs. Now you don't have to straighten your legs all together if that's too much for you right now. Just keep your knees bent. So that kind of helps you create a little bit mobility. You can take your hips side to side here. You can bend and straighten. You can keep with the hips lifted and lift the heels and lower the heels. That creates a little bit of dynamic movement here. But keep pressing into the fingertips and even rotate the inner edges of your elbows toward the front. That will create some freedom up in the shoulder. One more deep breath in. And then you can drop the left knee down or just step the right foot forward, then drop the left knee down. You may not need the pad at all. Same thing now on the other side. So 90 degree here, 90 degree here. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Push down through the feet and through the knee. Reach up through the heart, through the crown of the head, and then right hand grabs the left wrist, pull up to the sky, and lean over. So you can feel that all the way down to your left knee, but you don't want to overdo it here. So finding that subtle movement, the very subtle sensation, and kind of getting away from the gross muscle movement. We're finding that subtle part. Good. Reach your hands down. Step forward, forward fold. Bending your knees if you need to, or keeping your hips lifted. Release the spine, the neck, and the head. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale down. Bending the knees, reach the hands forward to chair. And then push down, reach the arms up. And then on the exhale, bring the hands to the heart here and pause. Staying connected to the breath here. Press the thumbs into the heart and heart back into the thumbs. Let's go around again. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. And exhale, release your hands down to the earth. Inhale, lift halfway up. So the spine is parallel to the floor. Shift your inner thighs back. You're kind of blossoming your cheeks here, and then exhale, release down. Step the left leg back to deep lunge. Push down. So instead of this back knee being down, which you can go there, right, if that feels like a way to modify for you, or keep the back leg straight, what I want you to do is hug the legs together so much that that helps you root down and rise up. And then bring the arms out, elbows back. Inhale, reach the hands up to the sky. And exhale, elbows back. Draw the ribs back. See if you can stay bent into the front knee. And one more here. Now bring the fingertips to the earth, bending into the front knee. Inhale. And then exhale, think about pushing your hips back so far that that front leg straightens. And go back and forth with the breath here 2 more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale here. Hold this. Feel the energy come up that front leg and into the hip. Move the hips out to the right, and then drag the right hip back more and the left hip forward. Extend through the ball of the big toe. Step back to downward facing dog. Again, you can bend the knees, keep your hips lifted. Really always a soft bend in the knees. We don't want to hyperextend the elbows or the knees. Come forward to plank. Bend the elbows. Come onto the belly. Tuck the elbows in by the side. Press the hands back. Drag them back. Reach the heart forward. Press the tops of the feet down. Good. Push back to downward facing dog. The left leg steps up between the hands. And again, you can drop your knee down. Keep your back leg straight. Either way, I want you to squeeze the legs together and rise. Squeezing the legs together helps give you the stability so that you don't fall over or find a little imbalance there. Now, reach your arms up to the sky, bending the elbows down. And let's start with the breath here. Ribs back. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Just find the nuances here as you do this subtle movement with the arms. And if you can't reach all the way up, that's okay. Just find the range of motion here with your arms that feels comfortable. Bring your hands down, bending into the front knee. And then exhale back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale one more time forward. Exhale back. This time stay back. Draw the energy up this leg. Move the hips, the inner groins, way out to the left. Drag the left hip back and the right hip forward, and then send that energy down the foot into the ball of the big toe. One more breath here. Good, and step the back foot forward, forward fold. Hands to the hips, elbows to the sky. Inhale and rise. Okay, so as you know, when we use a prop like the brick, it's to raise the floor up to us so we don't have to overstrain the body to reach the floor. So in this case, let's place the block to the outside of your right ankle. That way it's there if you need it. And let's see, to start out with though, let's take a wide stance here. Feet are parallel and more than hips width apart this time. And what that does, notice I'm getting shorter. The more I step out, the shorter I am. So then when you bring your hands to the hips, push down, so you're grounding through the legs and the heart is lifted, the spine is long. Then move your hips back. Like if you had a tail, you're moving the tail back and up toward the sky in order to fold forward. Then when you come to touch the floor, this is going to be much easier than when your feet are hips width apart. So roll onto the inner edge of your foot, feel the shins move toward the ground. From the inner thighs, push the energy out and down and let your feet come back to level. Try that one more time. Inhale, roll into on the inner edge of the feet. Exhale. And then finding the floor, keeping your fingertips here or resting your head down, whatever is comfortable for you here in this wide-legged forward fold. Stay here a couple of breaths. Sigh out, let go of anything that might be holding you back today. And then walk yourself around to your right foot. Now remember, we've got this block here. I knocked mine over. Maybe yours is still standing. Bend so the toes are facing the short end of your mat. Move your thighs back and scoop the tailbone down. Notice how that helps rotate the knee out over the little toe side of the foot. Now in my case, I've got my hand on the block, elbow is up against the knee and the knee to the elbow. So I can actually press those together. From that space, can I start to turn? Remember how we did that earlier, taking the right lung toward the midline, left arm up to the sky or over the ear, side angle pose. Now the nice thing with the block, is that you can move it down, lowest setting, or maybe even out of the way. You also, if the block is not giving you enough height, you can place the forearm on your thigh and actually press the forearm into the thigh and even drag the forearm back. That's a really nice opening. Cartwheel your hands to warrior two, so your legs are going to stay just like this. Arms come out, looking out over the right hand. And you can do that again, where you push the thighs back, scoop the tailbone, lift the heart. Exalted warrior, take the left hand down the left leg and try to keep bending into the right knee. Nice job. Interlace your hands behind your back. Stay here, or you can move your knuckles toward the earth, bending into the right knee, fold over. Letting your nose come toward the inside ankle of your right leg. And then come back to that wide-legged forward fold. Grab your block, place it down in front of you or to the back side or the outside of your left ankle, and stay here for another breath or two. Good, let's move over to this side now. So I'm going to place my hand on the block at the highest setting. Bring my right hand to my right hip and move the hips back. Scoop the tailbone. Adjust your feet so you can get your left knee right over your left ankle. So maybe I'm going to step in just a little bit, but I don't want the knee coming forward. I want it just to be right above. The left lung starts to move over toward the midline. The right shoulder goes back. The right arm can be overhead or over the ear. Finding a comfortable place here to be. So we adjust the bones so the muscles can actually relax and lengthen, get stronger and longer. You can lower the block or get it out of the way, or even the forearm on the thigh. That feels so good, being up so high. I can actually twist a little easier. I find a little more freedom in the pose this way, dragging the forearm back. Good. Cartwheel your hands, palms down, extend out through the arms, bending into the knee, and again, you can move the thighs back, scoop the tailbone. Exalted warrior, right hand down the right leg, left arm up. Take another clearing breath here. Good, and then come up, straighten that leg for just a second, and then you're gonna interlace your hands. I like to try to go opposite so that I always have, create a little bit of balance up in the shoulder. So I'm gonna go the opposite way this time with my fingers laced a little opposite, and then bending into the left knee. The fingertip or the knuckles can be pressing into the low back. You can straighten the arms or you can reach the arms overhead, folding over. So staying with the breath, staying present here. When you're ready, let go. Come back to that wide-legged forward fold. Okay, so a few other things we want to do before we move down to the ground. So come back to downward facing dog. So I'm going to spin over to the right, coming into my down dog. Drop the knees down, reach back around with the right hand, grab the right foot and bring it forward. Now that might be just a nice spot for you to stay here, or you can reach back, sorry about that. Keep your left hand down, reach back around with your right hand, grab your left foot, open the right toes to the right, and twist. So not only is it a hip opener on the right hip, but it's opening up through the left quad. Good, bring your hands down. Step back to that all fours position. Reach back around with the left hand, bring that foot forward. Left hand reaches back for the right foot this time. Sometimes it's a trick to find that foot. You'll get it in time. Now watch, my left toes can come at a 45-degree angle. My heart begins to open and I can pull this foot toward me. That doesn't feel good in your hips or your knees, don't worry about it. You can be up on your fingertips here. One more deep breath in. Good. Step back to downward facing dog. Come onto your belly, whether you drop your knees or keep your legs straight, bend the elbows, lower down. Okay, so we're here on our belly. What I'd want you to do is start by lifting your inner thighs and scooping your tailbone. And then reach around with your left hand, grab your left foot. Now, maybe this is enough for you here with one foot. Then you can do that on the other foot. Or maybe you'd like to do both feet together. So if you grab both feet or ankles or shins, lift your knees, draw the knees toward one another, kick your feet back, lift your shoulders. Maybe even rock a little. Good. Release your hands down. Push back up to downward facing dog. Bring your right knee towards your right wrist. For pigeon, walk the left leg back. Extend yourself forward on your elbows. So pigeon was not a pose that I could do very well in the beginning. So if that's the case for you, there's multiple ways that you can stretch your hips, or you can kind of dig into the hips a little bit. So let me just get you situated here. If pigeon is your thing, remember you can push into the hands, lift your hips, flare your hips out to the right, take the left hip forward, right hip back. And then this foot can be closer toward the left hip. If your hips are more open, you can bring this foot parallel but it's really rough on the knee and the hip. If you really aren't that open, that's not gonna feel good on the knee. So you stay here. If this isn't a pose that feels comfortable for you, this is the pose you wanna go to here. Maybe it's simply here, crossing one ankle over the other knee. If you feel like you could go a little bit deeper, then you bend the leg, the lower leg. Okay? Now, for those of you that are in pigeon, stay here or everybody stay here for a few more breaths. And walk yourself up. This time we're going to do a little bit of a twist here by taking the left foot around the right knee and hugging the knee into the chest. Maybe you stay right here, maybe you begin to turn, grabbing the knee with the right hand, maybe the left hand comes behind you and you can twist. That's also a nice hip opener. And then place the left foot down and take the right leg behind you, or go back and do that posture we talked about earlier. Now this time the opposite leg would be down, crossing the ankle over the knee. But if you're in your pigeon posture, lift your hips, flare to the left hip back, right hip forward. So you'll get nice and deep into the hip, but we want to go subtly, slowly, listening as we go. Walking the elbows forward, so you're stretching and reaching through the spine. The toes are curled under on the back leg. The knee is down, but the ankle is trying to press in toward the midline. Take a deep breath in. Whatever position you're in, can you just be there? Again, letting go of any expectation or shame or shoulda, woulda, coulda, none of that is very helpful. So letting go of all of those things and just be right here. Self-love, peace, uniting your scattered energy, and walking yourself up. Take the right knee around to the outer, or the right foot around to the outside of your left knee. Hug the knee into the chest. Staying here or slowly opening yourself with the right hand behind you, hugging the right knee in with the left forearm. Good, and release. You'll be happy to know you can come onto your back here. So when you're on your back, what I want you to do is have your feet down and knees up and walk your feet a comfortable distance from your hip, feet parallel and hips width apart. Press the elbows down, the fingers facing up toward the sky. Press down, walk your shoulder blades underneath you so your heart becomes lifted. And then lift the hips and scoop the tailbone toward the knees. Plant your hands down onto the mat, palms down. Press the back of the head down, looking straight up to the sky ahead of you. So you're not looking over, you're not looking to your navel, you're not looking over your forehead. It's just straight up to the sky. And then push your feet away from you, scoop your tailbone more. Slowly lower your hips down. Hug both knees into your chest. Rock a little bit here, side to side. And then grab the little toe sides of your feet. And if you can't quite grab those, just grab behind your knees. So you're trying to take the knees out as wide as they can be, but the feet are right directly above the knees. So either way you do that, I want you to notice the difference. If you lift your hips, can you feel your low back flatten? And then I want you to do the opposite. So try to press your hips down and lift the low back. Again, super subtle. You're not going to get much action. Well, you'll get the action. You won't get much physical movement, but the action is going to be attempting to lift the low back. Push your hips down and then pull the feet down with your hands, but try to push the feet back up with the power of your legs. Oh my gosh, there's so much action going on here. If someone just looked at you, they'd say, yeah, she's just kind of hanging out there, but actually there's a lot going on. You can even lift and separate your toes. That's action. Release. Bring the soles of your feet together Let your knees open up toward the side. Again, we're gonna press the elbows down, walk the shoulders underneath you. This time, open the palms toward the sky, close the eyes. Feel the effort you've put into this class so far. Letting yourself release to the earth. Breathing all the way down into the belly. Straighten your left leg out. Hug the right knee into the chest. Lift and separate the toes on both feet, so both legs are active. The idea here is that the left leg, we would love to be able to connect the whole leg to the earth. So try to get the hamstring so it's not popped up off the ground. One way we can do that is to lift the low back and plant the leg, then grab the right knee. And then here's the challenge. Interlace your hands behind the right hamstring. Attempt to push the right foot away from you. Feel the low back come up off the floor again. That's going to help ground the right leg and ground the left leg. Now, if you can keep all of that, attempt, again, this is going to be a subtle internal feeling of pushing up through the heel, attempting to straighten the leg. It doesn't have to straighten all the leg for you to get that sensation. It doesn't have to straighten all the way. And wherever you find is kind of your envelope there, stay there. Keep pushing the hips down and lifting the low back. Slowly take the foot just inch by inch across the body toward the left. Keep extending up through the left, you're going over to the left, but you're staying through the right heel. If you haven't done this in a while, it's going to feel really intense. That's why we come to our mat, right? To experience these things that are going to help us in the long run. Will help your hip come back to the center and go slightly over to the right. Again, pressing the hamstring into the hands, integrating the arms into the shoulder socket and pressing up through the right heel. Good, and come back to center. Release your hands and elongate the leg. Slowly let it come down to the mat. Notice the subtle difference between your right and left leg. So if noticing the subtle body, the subtle movements, the subtle feelings is new to you, this is a beautiful way to do that. When you do one side and you notice the difference between the sides before you pick up the other foot. One more deep breath here. Now, lift and separate the toes on your right leg. Allow that leg to be long. Lift the low back and help the right leg move down toward the earth while you pick up your right knee. Pick up the left knee, hug it into the towards your chest, extending through the right heel. Feel free to close your eyes here. It takes your awareness away from the stimulation around you. It helps you focus more on what you're feeling, because you can't really see it from here, but you can feel it. Now, interlace your hands behind the left hamstring. Push the left foot away from you. Allow the low back to come up off the floor as you're moving your hips and your thighs toward the earth. So it's the thigh back. Staying with the breath. One more deep breath in. And then begin to straighten the leg. And you're going to decide how far that is, but you're reaching up through the heel. Lifting and separating the toes on both feet so both legs are active. The right one hasn't gone to sleep yet. It's still nice and long and active. The muscles hugged to the bone. Slowly taking that foot across to the right, but extending all the way up through the left heel. Just notice where you're finding the sensation. Good, come back to center. Very slowly, just a little bit out to the left, extending up through the heel. Come back to center, and then release the hands. Slowly let the leg come down toward the earth, still making long muscles, making the legs extend long, And then notice here if you feel like the right and left side are more the same length. Move your shoulders underneath you. The low back is still lifted up off the floor, so the thighs are nice and grounded. The heart is lifted and open. The palms are open. The back of the head connects to the earth. Take a deep breath in. Let that breath come out. One more time in and out. This time just resume your normal breathing. If you have a sandbag or a blanket that you'd like to put over your thighs, that's another grounding opportunity. Just placing a blanket there. If you've got a pet that you can get to sit on your thighs, it's another way to help ground the thighs. That calms the central nervous system, brings you closer to the essence of your soul, where peace and love and joy reside. So here we let the benefits of our practice just settle in. And then when you're ready, slowly, you can stay here or slowly move yourself to a fetal position and then push yourself upright. Sitting up nice and tall, reaching up through the crown of the head, or you can stay in that Shavasana position a little longer. But we come back to that beginning sentence of you're only one choice away from changing your life. And maybe an idea came to you during your class today. What's one thing you could do to improve your life, your relationships, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, whatever that might be? Bring that into the heart, bringing your hands there. Press the thumbs into the heart back into the thumbs. And we end our class with a simple bow and honoring each other, for the light in me recognizes that light in you. Bless you. Thank you.